A gain of about 4 yards at the 30-yard line. Jim Germany stopped by Glenn Jackson.
They turned the outside rusher of BC loose that time when they sent all those backs out of that backfield, and he's coming on a direct line at Warren Moon, forced him to dump the ball to Germany, and Glenn Jackson was there to nail him on a good hit. You're not going to gain many yards on that when those defensive backs are on top of him that way.
9:26 remaining in the third quarter. 2nd and 6. This is a big play.
They're coming on the blitz.
For Waddell Smith, he can't hang on. Waddell Smith could not hang on, and Warren Moon was dumped just as he released. Smith was in the open.
Here it is right here. You see Sam Britz now. He goes through there tough. The ball is thrown in spite of a tremendous blitz on him right there, and right into the hands of Waddell Smith, but he was hit and jolted away from the football, and it was incomplete.
Dave Cutler's 4th field goal try of the afternoon from 37 yards out.
I'll tell you, Moon took a real hit on that.
Cutler is good. And with 8:53 remaining in the third quarter, it's now 16-12. The BC Lions in front.
Actually, the Lions were, I think, fortunate to come out of there with just a field goal scored upon them, because the momentum was with Edmonton, and they were coming down there and looked like they were going to do something, but that tremendous tackle in there on Waddell Smith, jolting that ball loose, changed it around a little bit. Now, BC has the ball and a chance to do something with it.
Just surprised me right here, Don, that they're going to take the ball in the 35 rather than have the Eskimos kick off when that's, what he did with that 1. He ran it back all the way to the 2.
Tyrone Gray on the sidelines trying to get away from Highbar. He'll be stopped about a yard short of a first down.
Good call by Pow right here on first down. They haven't had much success running, but here you'll see that all that happens is Tyrone Gray just goes down the field and just stops. Turns around and looks right at Pow, and he throws it right at his numbers, catches the ball. Highball makes the tackle, but they're going to get close to 10. They're going to have to measure. That'll keep you out of those 2nd and long. Nothing fancy to that. That is, you can throw that almost on anybody, and it's not a big play, but it keeps drives alive, and it keeps you out of those 2nd and longs.
This is something Pow wasn't doing earlier in his career, and even earlier this season. He wasn't being patient with those passes. That time he put maximum protection on. Everybody stayed in. The backs both stayed in, and he just worked on that one man down there. On the one-man pattern, he caught the ball. There's a couple other people involved in the pattern, but he knew who he was going to as soon as he dropped back.
All right, on 2nd and inches, what would you call?
It's just 2nd and inches, quarterback sneak. Ron, what about you?
2nd and inches, I like to throw. 3rd and inches, your quarterback sneak. But, Edmonton will not come up. They will not bring all 12 men up on the line. They'll always have their safety. In this instance, Laverato is going to be deep. They're going to protect against that pass, play-action pass, but you can still get it.
They're all jammed up there. It is a quarterback sneak. 1 for you, Leo.
Well, throwing on a situation like that's fine in exhibition season, but not now when you're getting ready to go to the Grey Cup. No reflection on you, Ron, because we never could beat you.
Edmonton has a slight edge in the area of first downs, 2 more than the Lions.
And we didn't win many Grey Cups either, Leo.
46.
I ain't going to touch that one.
7:43 is the time left in the third quarter. It's a first down for the Lions just across their own 45. Pow fakes to the sidelines, then tries to throw deep for Gray. He was well covered over there by Joe Holloman. So it's 16-12 with 7:29 remaining in quarter 3. We remind you that the very popular program, The Fifth Estate, will be seen on CBC television on Tuesday night on the full CBC television network.
On that preceding play, Don, Tyrone Gray didn't do a good job of acting. He wanted to go deep, but he didn't come up and stop and look at the quarterback. He just hesitated, and he didn't fool Holloman.
It's 2nd and 10.
Here comes the big blitz.
Swinging it out to John Henry wide, incomplete.
Well, I'll tell you, that looked almost like a lateral there.
That's why the scramble after the football. I'll tell you, it's hard to tell. The referee made the call. He's closer to it.
Kepley comes, and I don't think anybody even comes close to Kepley. He's in there without any blocker on him at all. The ball's thrown out there, and he just fumbled the ball. But it looked to me like it could have been a lateral. And if you cover that lateral or pick it up, you can run with it. But Ron, as you say, maybe the official saw it as just being a forward pass.
On that particular play, you have reason to believe that the Eskimo defensive unit was reading the BC Lions' mail.
Or we're in the huddle with him.
There's a great kick.
Frietta from his own 15. Fighting for extra yardage, still going down the sideline. I think they may rule that he stepped out. No, I guess he didn't. I thought he had maybe stepped out at about the 26. He got all the way to the 36 before forced out by Glenn Leonard.
Well, it's a good thing Leonard was there. He tiptoed down that sidelines, and Leonard jumped on him like a duck on a June bug down there, but he was the last one to get him, and if he would have got past Leonard, he may have gone all the way.
A 54-yard punt, a 26-yard run back, and Glenn Leonard was the man who, as Leo said, may have prevented Frietta from going all the way.
That Frietta does look like a little bug the way he runs.
Tommy Scott, the receiver, first down at the 49, tackled by Devon Ford.
It's a nice throw from Moon to Scott that time. He caught him in a man coverage. Moon rolls out to his outside, almost gets outside. You'll see him going, gets a good block right there, and then he got Jackson to contend when he just drills it. Scott breaks to the sideline, and the ball's out in the fingertips away from the defensive back. There's what the quarterback sees. He just drills it. Scott makes the fingertip catch.
Back to the live action. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos. 5:44 remaining in the third quarter. Over the middle, incomplete, intended for Sincar.
Trying to hit him in the seam there before anybody can get to him, but he needed another 5 or 6 yards to get behind that linebacker. The seam was there, but Moon threw it a little bit early.
The biggest crowd of the season in the Canadian Football League here this afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium. Over 52,000 taking in the action. Commonwealth Stadium, not the biggest park in the country. Olympic Stadium in Edmonton, or in Montreal, has that distinction. However, the Alouettes had problems putting people in the park this season. Incomplete. Moon's pass intended for Brian Kelly. He was being covered by Ken Hinton, and Hinton has done a pretty good job this afternoon on Kelly.
Fantastic, and there's just nobody open down there. He looked right across the board to see if he could find anybody open. He finally went to Kelly on the outside, and there was just good coverage on Kelly there, too. They had some protection in there. Brits tried to come on the blitz there, but the back picked him up, and the other back stayed in, too, and looked to pick up the defensive end from the offside. But with the good protection he had, he still had excellent coverage downfield when he tried to throw the ball. This is a battle of field position now, and Olisic is a guy that can really improve the field position by his punting.
Taken by Devon Ford, trying to find some room down the sidelines. He got about 10 yards. A 51-yard kick by Hank Olisic. Pete Laverato was there to make the tackle after the return by Devon Ford.
That 10-yard return down in that end of the field, 10 yards is a great return right there. See Ford take it. He's looking for somewhere to run. He just wants a little bit of a hole. He turns that thing inside, gets a good hit right there by Frietta, puts a good hit on him on the sideline, but the BC Lions have got 10 extra yards on that return. He'll take that hit.
1st and 10 BC. They are at their own 23. As you said earlier, you're not going to make a living, Ron, running against Edmonton.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
Larry Crawford having some problems at that BC bench. Something Vic Rapp commented on was last week's game in Winnipeg. He said the first time this year that our trainer did not set foot on the field.
Well, that's a pleasant situation. You know, that's the big thing. You worry about those injuries, and when you get to this stage of the season, you just can't afford them.
Fantrax into the ball game in place of Bailey at 2nd and 8. Ricky Ellis was open. He could not hang on.
That was a big play, and at that time of the ball game, to improve that field position like that and get that first down would have meant an awful lot to the BC Lions.
Ellis is lined up on Hayes over here. He gives him a quick move and gets inside of him, and he's got a lot of open ground in there, and Pow hits him. Oh, he's got to catch that one. He's got the step on Hayes. The only guy between him and the goal line is Lavaretto. You see, he gets inside of it, and that's what the defensive back doesn't want, because when he gets in there, he's got no help, and he just drops the football. That's a bad break for the Lions, but a big one for the Esks.
3rd down to Saglia, kicking from his own 10. Excellent punting by both Pasaglia and Alissa. Freyetta takes it back at his own 37 and is downed at the 44 by Kevin Konar. A 49-yard punt and a run back of 8.
Well, you got Alissa and Pasaglia, as you was talking about. Both of them are excellent kickers. So, you know, in the battle for field position, it's not going to be determined, I don't think, by the kicking game, because one is just as good a punter as the other one.
One thing about Alisic, though, he gets the ball way up in the air.
3:09 is the time left in the 3rd quarter. Let's pause for this message. Ricky Ellis has scored the only touchdown of the game, but he could have made a big play for the Lions on their last possession. He was open over the middle, but could not hold on to the throw from Joe Pow. And now the Eskimos have possession. Moon slips and falls, still gets the pass away. Lumpkin goes out of bounds at the 50. That will be a gain of 6. It will be 2nd and 4.
Dangerous thing to do, but he gets away with it. Moon goes back, slips and falls, jumps right back up. He got man coverage, and he still got the ball to Lumpkin.
16-12 is the score here in the 3rd quarter. The Western Final. The winner will meet the Ottawa Roughriders next Sunday at Olympic Stadium in Montreal in the 1981 Grey Cup game. And you'll see it all on CBC television. Moon completed 62.6% of his passes this season. He's well below that average so far this afternoon. That will help his average. First down pass to Waddell Smith.
What was funny there, Don, is Sincar, the second receiver in. He tries to go inside of Lund. He goes inside him, and they watch him go to the ground. They pull him down. That's good to do, but while he fell down, that opened the seam for Waddell Smith to get open. He didn't get back in there where he should be. That allows the ball to be thrown.
He pulled him out of the coverage, didn't he? Pulled him right out of the way and opened the lane for the passers.
First down Edmonton at the BC 45. Incomplete. I believe Moon was looking for Tommy Scott. That was not a good throw.
I'm not sure who he was looking for. Brian Kelly turned around and looked at Scott, and they're talking it over, coming back to the huddle. I don't know whether Moon expected maybe Kelly to break back to the sideline. Tommy Scott certainly wasn't very close to it.
Well, they're working on these receivers, and I think that's what Vic Rapp told me they were going to do. They weren't going to let them get out of there clean. They're breaking their stride and then catching them with speed with their cornerbacks. That's a good move by the cornerback, but if you get caught with that second bump, you're in trouble now.
1:45 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 10, Edmonton at the 45 of BC. They were coming with everybody. He got the pass away for a first down to Tommy Scott. The Lions gambled and lost in that one.
BC comes after him right here. You see Lund up on the outside. He's the guy that's going to eventually come free and hit Moon. He throws the ball out in front of Scott. Scott dives, makes the catch, keeps the drive alive on man coverage. It's a big first down. It's almost the same pattern as last time, only the ball's just a little closer to where Scott can get his hands on it.
56 seconds now remaining in the 3rd quarter. First down Edmonton. They are at the 30 of BC. Handoff to Jim Germany. He has 3 yards. He's stopped by Mac Moore.
They're still coming with that outside rush, too, with their defensive ends coming on the wide out rush. And the defensive tackles, I've watched them, they're kind of losing their lanes in there. And down in this area of the field, Moon can very well step up inside. There's nothing there with those linebackers dropped off, and he can make a lot of yardage running here. And he might forsake the body this time in order to get the big gainer.
The seconds ticking away in quarter 3. 2nd and 7. This drive started at their own 44. Pressure on Moon. This time he's caught. He's dropped by the Lions back at the 36.
Hebler just came right around Papier that time, and he was the first guy there. And he forced Moon to duck, and when he ducked, then everybody else got a shot at him. But that's good defense, good pass rush.
9 seconds, the time left in this third quarter. And again, Dave Cutler comes onto the field.
Hebler, you can't see Hebler come, but you can see Proudfoot come very tough in there. And then Jackson following up and making the hit. Jackson and Proudfoot both got in there clean. They're both blitzers.
Well, they came hard, too, Leo. That Hebler turned that corner on Papier. He was really flying. Proudfoot came clean. Well, I'll tell you, a quarterback doesn't have a chance. That's good defense.
What happens is when that defensive end beats that offensive tackle.
The field goal by Cutler is good. And that's the end of the third quarter. The BC Lions, well, we're 15 minutes away from declaring a Western champion. The kickoff after that field goal by Cutler, taken by Devon Ford. He's trying to get outside, and he runs it back to the 48-yard line. Brought down there by Emilio Fraietta. Dave Cutler has accounted for all of the Eskimos scoring. Now, in the first half, John Wells was asking the question, when was the last time the Edmonton Eskimos had failed to score a touchdown in 30 minutes of football? Well, the last time they failed to score a touchdown in 45 minutes of football was against this same British Columbia team. However, they exploded for 29 points in the fourth quarter. Emilio Fraietta, who was involved in that tackle, the injured Edmonton Eskimo.
He made the initial hit on the punt return. I just wasn't quite sure just what he did. Oh, he seems to be all right. He's not limping very bad. He'll be all right.
Cutler come in a little bit late here. That's kind of a frustration. You see it right there, the frustration of the return.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Lions. They are at their own 48. Papa. He's got a receiver open. Is it a catch? They rule that Al Sharuk made the reception.
Joe Paupau bounced right back up off the ground there. Sharuk's going to go down the field, and he's just going to stop and run a simple hook. Just going to turn around, come back to the football. Paupau took a tremendous shot from Fennell just as he let it go, and that's why the ball was delivered low, because Sharuk definitely was open.
Doesn't hurt nearly as much, though, when you complete the pass.
You got that right.
1st and 10 for the Lions. They are at the Edmonton 48. Quick opener with John Henry White and a gain of about 4. All the kickers this afternoon. Casaglia, who handled both the placement chores and the punting duties for BC. Hank Alisic and Dave Cutler have done quite a job of kicking that ball this afternoon. They credit the Lions. John Henry White with a gain of 5. It will be 2nd and 5. Pancratz into the ball game. Terry Bailey goes out. 13:20 left in the ball game. BC leading 16-15. Paupau almost has the pass picked off. It was intended for John Pancratz, and Gary Hayes was the man who knocked it down.
There was a real mix-up there. The closest man to the ball was Gary Hayes. Pancratz started like he was going to go to the sideline, and then he kind of rolled back inside for some reason. Paupau goes back. You see they're sitting back. He's got time to throw, and he throws it, and Hayes gets underneath the receiver. And he's the guy that almost makes the interception. Pancratz was a little bit deeper than Paupau thought he was going to be.
Emilio Fraietta is back to receive this third down kick.
Frietta was looking for some sort of signal on what to do if it's in the end zone.
It's kicked to the other side. Marco Sincar back there. He bounces off a couple of tackles and struggles out to the 7-yard line. Brought down finally by Kerry Parker. A 41-yard kick by Pasaglia. I think that's the first time that anybody other than Emilio Frietta has handled a punt for the Edmonton Eskimos this afternoon. A return of 5 by Sincar.
Well, he didn't get it in the end zone to get the single point, but he certainly has got him in bad field position with a punt like that.
12:39 the time remaining in the ball game.
Didn't really look like he tried to get it to the end zone.
Not at all. And Ron, something we haven't mentioned at all, looking up at the flags, it looked like the Edmonton had the wind advantage in that third quarter, but that it swung around now, and the advantage is going to be with BC in this fourth quarter, and that could be significant because it looks like it's picking up down there.
Kenny Hinton bounced Brian Kelly out of bounds.
Brian Kelly's just going to go down, turn to the outside real quick. Moon will hit him with it. He'll look for some more yardage and then bounces out of bounds. Hinton comes up on him.
Well, I think that's a significant point, Leo, that the wind has increased in velocity since the midway point of this ball game.
It might show up in the punting, and Olisic's punting too, because he'll be punting against the wind. But he's such an excellent punter, maybe it won't make that much difference.
Goodell Smith with another Edmonton first down.
The Eskimos right now have made a little bit of an adjustment to what BC's doing defensively. And they've gone right to the same play twice in a row, just to different receivers, just a little down and bend out or a quick out, whatever they want to call it, and he catches the football. There's Hebler. He's had a great season for the BC Lions. Sincar gets underneath him. He's the guy who gets his hands down and allows Moon to throw that quick out. You got to get those guys' hands down or they'll bat it right back at you.
From their own 31, first and 10, Edmonton. Inside with Germany. Or I should say Neil Lumsden. There's a penalty flag as well. Glenn Jackson was the man charged with that rough play violation.
Lumsden breaks the tackle here, and look at the spear right there by Jackson. That's what the call was right there. And, you know, they start from way down in their end of the field and bring the ball out systematically out now to about the 51-yard line. And they can't stand a penalty like that. That was a poor bit of judgment on Jackson's part.
First and 10 for the Eskimos. 11:15 remaining in the game. They are at their own 51. Pass intended for Tommy Scott on the sidelines. He was being covered by Lund.
Don, you got a little bit of a cat and mouse game going on down here now. The BC Lions were dropping Hinton deep, and the BC Lions, Eskimos, were throwing quick outs underneath him. This time, Hinton stays up in the flat, and he forces the Lund to come and make a great defensive play right there. And if they had run a little farther, you would have seen Hinton sitting right outside waiting on that football. So they're trying to decide, we're not going to always do it one way. We're going to make you work with us and earn it. And they're doing a good job of that today.
Now it's 2nd and 10 from the 51. That pass was deflected at the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure who got a hand up. It may have been either Nick Hebler or Rick Clausen.
Well, Moon's looking at his hand a little bit like it's just one of those things.
I don't know if you noticed or not. But Scott went down the middle of the seam, and he was wide open down there. And there was a lot of controversy there in the secondary by the BC players as to who was supposed to have him. But apparently, Warren Moon didn't pick him up, or he'd have been home free for a long one.
10:37 left in the ball game. Elisic hangs it high.
See, that wind is holding it up a little bit too, Don.
Ford takes it on the run and steps out of bounds. There is a penalty flag. And with 10:29 left in the ball game, let's pause for this message.
Chevy makes good things happen, and good things happen. Driving Chevrolet for fun on the run. For value, it's the one. For all kinds of people, Chevy is the one. Yeah, it's your kind of people with just your